Donald Trump and his administration are dictators. It is clear as the nose on our faces. We need to impeach him. He is a criminal. Trump hosted the president of El Salvador in the Oval Office, and he and his minions sat there and lied about what the United States Supreme Court has said. Trump said he wanted to deport U.S. citizens. The president of El Salvador says he's not going to return Garcia, who was sent there. It was an absolute display of corruption and lawlessness. Let's start at the top. Straight up, Stephen Miller lies regarding the Supreme Court's order 9-0 regarding Garcia, who was deported without due process. Now, I want to remind everybody, it was a 9-0 decision that ordered the Trump administration to facilitate the return of this man, because every person in the United States is entitled to due process. And here the lies that we're spewing.
If he was your neighbor, you would move right away.
So you don't plan to ask for
Supreme Court's asking to.
Is that
What was the ruling in the Supreme Court, Steve? Was it 9-0?
Yes, there's a 9-0
in our favor.
in our favor
stop it right
against
there.
the.
Does Trump not know what the Supreme Court ruled 9-0 and that his administration lost? And now it is in a lower court who is overseeing the return of this man. Does he not know? Are they lying to him? Because if this is what he's being told by Stephen Miller, he is being lied to. I mean, this is 25th Amendment all over it. If he doesn't know, or he's just breaking the law. Here we go. Stephen Miller.
District court ruling saying that no district court has the power to compel the foreign policy function of the United States. As Pam said, the ruling solely stated that if this individual at El Salvador's sole discretion was sent back to our country, that we could deport him a second time.
Well,
no version of this legally ends up with him ever living here, because he is a citizen of El Salvador. That is the president of El Salvador. Your questions about it, per the court, can only be directed to him.
I asked.
Okay, that is a lie. He was deported without due process. The Supreme Court said, bring him back, give him due process, then you can deport him through legal immigration means. This is dangerous. It is devastating. We are in a full-on authoritarian government. And I just want to ask everyone, did everybody see the El Salvadorian president's dress? He's not in a tie. Nobody's bitching about his dress code. Number two, remember how the Trump administration treated Zelensky, who is our ally? El Salvador, you're sending out the red carpet for them, and you treat Zelensky like shit and you attack him. It is disgusting. Okay, so Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are saying we are not going to do what the Supreme Court is telling us we have to do. Yesterday on Air Force One, he said we will abide by the law. When asked about it by Caitlin Collins, this is his response.
That if the Supreme Court said someone needed to be returned, that you would abide by that. You said that on Air Force One just a few days ago. And they said that it must be facilitated.
Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You know, you have no credibility. Please go ahead.
That is unbelievable. He is the biggest dick. Obviously, he is a lawbreaker. That is corruption. He has just taken the Constitution and the three branches of government and law in this country, and he has thrown them away because he is a criminal. And when you elect a criminal convicted of 34 felony counts, indicted 4 times for stealing nuclear secrets, for inciting an insurrection, this is what you get, America. This triple Trumpers, this is what you get, which, of course, the triple Trumpers all love it because this man is brown. Next, we have Marco Rubio has to weigh in with his lips directly on Trump's big white ass.
I understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin, except for Venezuela that was refusing to take people.
Newsflash. In the United States, we have what's called due process of law. It is guaranteed by the Constitution. In due process of law, you are allowed a hearing before you are deported. So you, sir, either don't know the Constitution or don't give a shit so that you can bend the knee to Donald Trump. This is one of the most disturbing, dangerous displays of dictatorship that has ever occurred in the United States of America. And every single American should be contacting their congressman, Republican or Democrat, to impeach this man, bring in the 25th Amendment, whatever it takes, because either he doesn't know what the Supreme Court's saying or they've lied to him and haven't told him. He is accountable for his administration breaking the law. And then we have Caitlin Collins directly addressing the president of El Salvador. And here is what he has to say.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
Well, I'm supposed to have suggested that I smuggle terrorists into the United States, right?
It's always
how can I smuggle? How can I return
Here's
him
the deal.
to the...
They're joking. They are joking around about a man's life. They are joking around about the constitutional rights of people in the United States of America. This is not funny. This has nothing to do with CNN's ratings. This man makes a joke. Well, I couldn't smuggle somebody into the United States of America. It's unbelievable that this is happening. This is the year 2025, and the Constitution is gone, and we live under an authoritarian government because Donald Trump and his administration do not want to follow the law. Then moving on to, now we have Trump saying he would like to look at El Salvador taking U.S. citizens deported into prison.
Pay for those facilities to be opened if new ones were going to be built?
I'd do something. We'd help them out. Yeah, we help them. They're great facilities, very strong facilities, and they don't play games. I'd like to go a step further. I mean, I said it to Pam. I don't know what the laws are. We always have to obey the laws, but
okay, stop.
We also have.
No, they don't. They never follow the law. They just said they're not going to follow the law. So him saying, oh, well, I will have to ask what the law is. If you're president of the United States, you don't know that you can't deport U.S. citizens, whether they're found guilty of crimes or not, to foreign countries. You don't know that? 25th Amendment, again. Okay, finish that up. I'm sorry.
grown criminals that push people into subways, that hit elderly ladies on the back of the head with a baseball bat when they're not looking, that are absolute monsters. I'd like to include them in the group of people to get them out of the country, but you'll have to be looking at the laws on that, Steve, okay?
Does anybody think Pam Bondi is not going to tell him exactly what he wants to hear? Does anyone trust the Justice Department and Pam Bondi or the FBI and Kash Patel to arrest people that are only criminals, allow them their due process rights, put them through the entire process of the U.S. judicial system? Nobody trusts these people because they're taking people off the street without cause, without due process, and they are deporting them. And now Trump is saying he wants U.S. citizens to fall into that category, but they have to follow the law. He doesn't follow the law. This is the most terrifying and dangerous meeting, press conference, whatever you want to call it, in Trump's administration. And that's saying a lot because he is now tanking the global economy. He's back and forth with tariffs. He's got Elon Musk firing federal workers, ripping apart the budget, cutting Social Security. RFK is now saying all this crazy junk scientist. He's hiring confirmation bias scientists. They've slashed all transparency. And now he's saying he wants to deport U.S. citizens to El Salvador because it's so strong. This is terrifying. I cannot believe we are here. And now we have Stephen Miller answering questions on Gitmo.
Is Gitmo still open? Are there any illegal immigrants who have been taken to Guantanamo Bay today, or has that prison been closed?
No, it's wide open. Gitmo is open. There are a number of foreign terrorist aliens that are being housed at Gitmo, awaiting final removal to another destination. But what I want to be very clear on,
Can you tell me how many?
No, I cannot. That's operationally sensitive information.
First of all, every report, liar, liar, liar. Every report we have is that There's not one prisoner at Gitmo, which is why Fox asks the question. But Stephen Miller, who just said in the same day that the U.S. Supreme Court sided 9-0 with Trump and that they don't have to bring back a person wrongfully deported. He sits on there and lies. And you know what the scary part is? None of those people watching Fox News give a shit, because another brown person's at Gitmo is going to be sent to El Salvador to be tortured in their prisons. Yay, team. And another, yet not so serious, but another bend the knee to the authoritarian dictator, here we go again, is Don Jr. has been awarded his own TV show, which I cannot imagine anything less appealing than watching Don Jr. do anything. But Warner Brothers has asked Trump's orbit to improve their relationship. Trump's people pointed to the $40 million Bezos paid for Melania's doc and suggested giving Don Jr. a discovery hunting show and more pro-Trump voices on CNN. Deliver me. This is what happens in oligarchies. This is what happens in dictatorships. Look at Russia. Everybody does whatever Putin wants. They bend the knee to Putin. That's where we are, America. That is where we are. Not only that, we get Don Jr. on a TV show. Gag. And then something that will not shock anybody, because Trump only cares about Trump and Trump's money. He has now said he wants undocumented, he floats the plan for undocumented farm and hotel workers to work legally in the U.S. Do you know why? Because he has hotels and he wants cheap labor at Mar-a-Lago and Bedminster and all these golf courses. It's not because he wants better for Americans. He wants more money for him. It's gross. We should all be outraged. He should be impeached. 25th Amendment. I don't care what the cornucopia of different things to get him out of office. He is single-handedly taken democracy, the Constitution, wadded it up in the ball and thrown it away. Stick with us for more news.